pretty sad.
Yeah, I mean, it's like sad at one side, but at the other side, it's like really awesome that like the community response and stuff has been so cool, and like potentially getting a more open system out of the deal, like through Paizo's stuff, and like I don't know, it's pretty cool. It has a lot of upside.
I'm
I
really
think
curious to see how Wizards responds.
shittily.
Yeah, they posted some minor little release, and it was just bullshit.
Yeah, people tore that one apart.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. You guys, oh, go ahead.
Speaks to the power of collective action, guys.
Oh yeah. First D&D, second international communism.
The Fifth International started
From player outrage.
Player outrage.
Dungeons and Dragons, the tabletop RPG community.
I mean, I guess that would prove our parents right, saying that D&D is of the devil, bringing about communism.
Third, we eat the rich.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty hungry right now, so yeah.
I heard they could be pretty fatty.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta imagine Bezos is pretty much like Wagyu beef or something like that.
Oh, but like all the like human growth hormone and all that shit they're pumping, it's like the most like inorganic, like steroid enriched meat you could possibly get. I bet it would be terrible.
Yeah.
Definitely not eating the liver.
Yeah.
They're living off the flesh of babies.
Yeah. Don't touch Peter Thiel. Just don't do
Just
it.
stay away.
He's been doing other people's blood transfusions and shit like that. You don't want none of that.
Just daily youth blood. It's just, I mean, we'd all do it if we could. I'd have a young person just hooked up on the wall, a little flesh bag, like I don't know, like in Road, Mad Max, Fury Road.
It's a blood bag.
Blood bag.
Icky.
Dude. What's that line about water? Do not become addicted to.
Yeah, do not become dependent or addicted to water. They're all just like literally dying of like of malnutrition and thirst and disease. Oh, so good. Okay.
I'm gonna be right back. Grab some water.
Hey, how dare you?
Don't become addicted to water, bro.
Seriously, what did we just talk about? Oh. Yeah, my little oh, it's still good. It's still good. Joel witnessed me drop my dice box when he dropped me off last week. Scattered all my dice in the dark and the wet.
Did it damage the box?
But the box is just a little bit. Like there's a little like damage to like where the magnets connect to the screws right here, like splintered some of the wood. But otherwise, it's all good. Now I can just like, I'll be fine. Go just sand that down and be good as new.
Perfect.
Oh. Any yeah, so Sarah picked up, of course. I love Sarah. Just like so excited about new games and stuff, just goes and buys like multiple like books and stuff. Yeah, I'm excited. The Cipher system, is that one of the D6 ones? I think that's
I'm
one of the
not
ones
Cipher?
she got.
sure.
Yeah, one of the ones she got was Cipher, right?
I don't
I have to
know.
look at
Is that like monster of the week type system? Because or is that different?
Yeah, the Cipher system core book I think is adapted to a bunch of things like Monster of the Week.
Because I've only heard a little bit watching or listening to those one dudes.
The Dungeon Dudes?
No, Adventure Zone.
Oh. I
They
listened
played like
to
a
oh, go ahead.
they played like a Monster of the Week type game a while ago. I thought it was a pretty interesting system.
Yeah.
That's yeah, I wonder what. Yeah, I haven't seen any content from the Dungeon Dudes.
Yeah, they put out some good stuff. They did a few games of Monster of the Week that were pretty cool, like set in like 1990s or 80s, like rural Canada. It was just like, a horror, like, what monsters lurking in the shadows and causing all the mayhem, sort of like X-Files sort of thing. It was pretty cool.
Oh, that's fun.
So what's the game plan for Big Help Gang? Are we gonna continue with 5e, or
Hmm.
you plan on changing it, or is it still kind of up in the air?
Well, I'm planning on continuing with 5e for the moment. I don't think I'm gonna buy any more uh Hasbro products. I'm not gonna buy any more D&D Prime material. And I am definitely interested in checking out like seeing what you guys are into, because I think I would not have too difficult of a time translating or converting our game into a lot of different systems. Like Pathfinder for sure would be an easy one, because it's like built for the same, like kind of like from the core, has like a lot of support for like a very similar like setting and like adventure style. Other ones would become more difficult, and we'd all have to kind of adapt from being like fantasy pulp heroes to whatever kind of like set, if we did want to do a more significant like transition to a different style of system, I'd be open to that too. um but I did, yeah, definitely wanted to hear what you guys have to have thoughts. But I am very open to like I said, like converting it to a different system. I don't think it would be too hard, and I think that could be pretty fun if the system was enjoyable for all. But again,
Yeah.
I'm in no immediate rush to, because we still have all these books in common, and we still have all this, like, shit. So I'm not in any rush. And it's not like every day we play, we're giving royalties to Wizards of
Right.
the Coast yet.
Right. It's like, we've installed chips in all these dice that you've bought. We can tell when you roll them. No, I'd be interested in, like, I mean, I'm good with continuing in 5e for now. I don't know, transitioning to a different system, I'm definitely open to, especially if as we go on, like for this campaign, like eventually it'll end. um, that's not me saying I want it to end. That's not what I'm saying. But
It's like, oh, hopefully it will eventually end.
yeah, right. But in planning for the future, for future one shots and that type of thing, like, yeah, I think it'd be more sustainable to transition to something else, just because they're going to continue. Wizards of the Coast is going to continue on. It's just going to. I don't see them turning around, really. unfortunately. I mean, the response has been good, but
Yeah.
they're rolling in dough, so it's not like they have a need to respond to their fans in exactly the way that we would want.
Yeah, especially if they just think that, then take the short-term loss to gain like a huge market share or whatever, like, to dominate stuff more. If they thought it was in their long-term profit, they would still just do it. So, and they've given no indication that they've actually understood the like, I don't know, ideology behind the resistance to the changes they've made or they've been, suggesting they're going to make.
Yeah.
I think it was a dude over at Nerd Immersion was like, if Wizards of the Coast could like gain their IP back and separate themselves from Hasbro, that would probably be the best case scenario.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
best case.
Maybe their valuation will just drop so much because of so much lost like public favor and stuff that Hasbro will let it go for a a song.
Wouldn't that be
We
lovely?
could always dream.
Yeah.
As for the campaign, I think we should try like a bunch of systems. Like throw some one
Yeah,
shots together for in between campaigns and do like a Pathfinder and do something else and see what we all like.
100%. Yeah, I agree. And and if we fall in love with a different system that's like, not really a particularly good like transition for this campaign, we could always start playing that one when, in one shots and stuff, and then prepare to do our next longer term campaign in that new system. So like we have a lot of options. So yeah, I really like the idea of just trying a bunch of them and seeing what we like.
Yeah. I don't
Sounds
know.
good.
I do like the idea of exploding dice. I really like that.
Yeah, exploding dice are
uh,
fun. There's
uh,
just like always just so much like potential in every roll when when you have
yeah.
exploding dice.
I don't know. So any system that introduces like a high degree of just like risk and payoff like that, I'm definitely in favor of. But I mean, we'd have to explore. Like, yeah, I think Joel's. Yeah, I like Joel's idea.
Mhm.
One-shotting a bunch of them, and then making an educated decision on our next long-term campaign. I think that's a
Yeah,
really good idea.
but I was excited to see. I'm looking forward to checking out not just Pathfinder, but their Starfinder. They have like rules for like a space game as well. That's like based off the same stuff. So I'm really excited about that because like if we did want to switch to Pathfinder, it might be the most excellent time because there is certainly a dearth of good space rules in 5th edition for D&D. So like it could be a great time to make a, a transition because as you guys may have noticed, like there's absolutely potential for this game to leave the earthly bonds.
Oh, we plan on it.
Yeah.
Did I say we? I
Gray
mean
in
you do.
space.
Oh, I mean, yeah, like exploring different like settings would be really.
Because then Gray can see some space animals, and then he can use those for his druid shade, and it'll be
Oh my
so good when we
god.
get back to Earth.
Discovering space bugs.
Oh no! All I'm thinking is like Gray comes back with like a xenomorph or something like
Yeah,
that.
exactly. A little egg. It's like, hey, look
Like,
what I found.
oh my god!
Face
I
hugger.
Big
call it a
space
face
bug.
hugger.
Yeah.
Man, face hugger totally sounds like something Gray would come up
Oh,
with too.
absolutely.
Oh my god! Yeah.
100%.
Gray's new friend H.R. Geiger over him.
Yeah, if you ever get a chance, I'd recommend listening to the Adventure Zone, the like most recent season. They're using the Blades in the Dark, and it's kind of like a fun little heist caper kind of setup. It's kind of a neat little game style. It seems like complicated, but I'm curious to see what the actual book looks like.
Yeah, I've heard really good things, capers and like heists and things like that. Because like I understand it, like you don't like it just like throws you right into the action, and then like as you come up against like encounters or like different scenarios and stuff, it's like yeah, like I planned for this. I use one of my resources or whatever, and I planned for this very moment, and like had this like elaborate scheme ready to solve this problem. And it sounds really cool and fun.
Yeah, I like how there's not like a whole lot of setup. Like you don't have money.
Mhm.
You're not tracing that. You just have like you have money.
Yeah.
Like when you come into an adventure, you just have your setup. There's light, medium, or heavy. And how much stuff you're bringing.
Yeah.
And you say like, I have my crowbar as
Right.
part of my light setup.
Yeah, it seems pretty cool. Because like that's like, oh man, do other systems do they ever get bogged down in the planning phase?
Oh, absolutely. Or can I retcon that this happened?
Okay. Actually, can you guys want to start a brief little recap while I find my other notebook. I'm always after the other notebook in
I was
life.
just about to say that. You're always like trying to find that next notebook, you know?
So deep.
We made our way into a new room from the room with the screaming person in it. There was a room that had these facades around the outside of kind of a hexagonal shaped room. Harkill was one of them, and on the opposite side of the room was a spectral shade looking creature. There was also a priest and a throne. There was a beautiful humanoid, kind of looked like a vampire, a dragon zombie, and let's see. The door got closed by BB, and General Harkill came alive. The spectral shade started to fill the room with ice, and Harkill went to town on Xerox.
Mhm.
Once the door was opened, he returned back, but all the figures have moved slightly from their previous location. And we found out that the Necronomicon can only be like replaced by another person, or we could replace people in the wall. Beboop said kind of fuck that and destroyed the Necronomicon.
Yeah.
And then there was two wheels spinning around each other covered in ice, and it offered us a boon because we done fucked up.
I think we made great choices. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know what was supposed to do. Like, we needed to do something, and if all else fails, smash.
We did something.
I mean, we really did do something.
Yeah.
I mean, all the smart people left our group, so it's just down to smash shit.
Yeah,
Oh,
we're
God.
back. We're back to
The roots.
back to the roots. Just murder hoboing our way across.
Oh, that was pretty great. Yeah, like I mean, I presented that to you guys without like I didn't expect you guys to like uh I was not like trying to push or I had no anticipation or expectation that you guys would like sacrifice one of your members to like free this book or anything. But like I could definitely imagine a scenario with Nazira in the group where the total end result was the same. You still destroyed the book, but you talked to it for like 6 hours beforehand and like drained it of information and like played on its whatever or like learn more about it. But like the jump to smash it was pretty quick.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That
We
was
don't have
great.
time
That
for
was
that
great.
mess.
We don't have time for that. Big words not here. The boys will play.
Yeah.
We were men of action.
I mean,
Oh,
really,
that's so
it's the
great.
true fact. I do have a question. Uh,
Mhm.
hold on. I have to remember. Oh yeah. So if Beep Boop wanted before, after the death of this creature, could I start to like pull out a paper and pencil and write down like all of the words that I remember seeing on that creature's body?
Yeah, you do have the keen mind feat, if I recall correctly.
That is accurate.
Yeah, if you want to, absolutely, if you want to begin doing this, as soon as possible, you are in this room with, this divinely alien being, that's these, two eye-covered interlocked rings with, a brilliant sort of like halo behind them. Uh, do you want to just ignore them and begin writing in your book, or do you save this for?
I feel like once Beep Boop heard this angel creature tell him that they done fucked up, I'm like, oh shit, I should try to remember as much as we can.
Okay.
Please make a Necroyarnicon.
Oh yes. I was gonna write it down, but I changed my mind. I'm busting out the needles. We're gonna
Oh my
create like
god.
a fun like yarn version of that dude.
Oh my god.
I'm even gonna
Oh my god.
French toast. I don't have any fourth level spells left.
Yeah, I'm like imagining like just like a wide like scarf that has like all the like lettering or like all the words and stuff like knitted into it
Yep.
with like different colors and
Gorgeous.
like just really
Beautiful.
people. Going on
Oh
Etsy
my
after you
god.
guys are done
Yeah.
with
I'd buy that.
it.
Honestly, like a yarn book cover that kind of looked like the
And like
Necronomicon would be.
fiendish writing and like these like occult symbols all over it and like yeah, be pretty badass.
Oh
It's gonna
yeah.
be so good.
Uh,
Yeah, you can absolutely commit, because of your feet, you can absolutely commit that to your memory as best as you were able. Why don't you give me a perception check right now that will help inform what that looks like or how much you're able to recall. And this is more to describe like how much of that body you really saw before it was mangled. Um,
Okay. So seeing as
you
this is
did.
the what?
He was like hanging there for a while. Yeah, so do this with advantage because you had plenty of time to see him before the confrontation.
Excellent. I will take my advantage and I'm gonna like hit myself in the head too, just to remember a little bit extra. Like give myself some knocks on the brain. So I can add my intelligence modifier to that roll as well and have a total of 21.
21. Yeah, it will take some doing, take some focused work, but you can absolutely commit this to
Oh,
to
wait.
to yarn over the
Sorry, I
next
lied. It's an 18. No, wait. Oh, can't math. It's hard. 18. No? Yeah,
18,
18. 18, not
a
21.
mere
Sorry.
a mere 18.
Yes, just a mere 18.
Um,
We
yeah,
tried
I
hard.
think there was a threshold there around 20 that I think will be the difference, probably with some key details.
Okay, reasonable. I did my best.
Um, as your mind focuses and you like enter that like state of mind that your your um, your feet is sort of like enables or describes more accurately. Um, just your this like supreme like crystalline focus where you can commit things to memory perfectly if you wish, and recall things with just this like perfect clarity. There is something um, difficult though to uh, difficult about the text on the Necronomicon, on the flesh of this person that that makes it, or there's something about it that makes it more difficult to memorize, and that it is that you clearly remember, thanks to the precision of your memory, things subtly shifting over time. You would like look at the body and like you'd see all this like, or like describe this like it's blackened capillaries that are like pushing or like uh describing or like creating this lettering, this fiendish lettering, and these like occult symbols all across the flesh of this person. Um, those things were slowly shifting as time went by, making even understanding and memorizing what you were seeing a little bit more difficult as you had spent even just those minutes in that room. But the deed is done, and you can also spend some time memorizing what you can from the remains of the Necronomicon, but it is bludgeoned and smeared in some places beyond recognition. And you can also, well, let's save that for another moment, because for all of you, your attention is taken, arrested by this strange creature that is clearly this creature that is radiating just this warm celestial light, very similar to that like incredibly like bright warmth from the radiant light, the magic light that allowed you guys access to this place. That while standing in it felt so warm and so like should have been hot, as it felt like this light was just like piercing through your body and just spraying out through the other side. But like there is there was something comforting in that light, like standing in a warm bath of sunlight when you're that just like seems to invigorate your body and warm it up even as there is a chill in the wind. Just this comforting sense. But in this case, with this being also a little bit more austere, as you take in that warmth, there is a harshness to it as well. Not painful by any means, but it is uncomfortable to look at. And being bathed in its light as it like casts these harsh shadows on the nooks and crannies of this space and like around the horrifying like rack that was holding the Necronomicon. Everywhere it's light, it just seems like everywhere the light doesn't reach, those shadows just are like almost living shadows, like everything that there was to hide or to be ashamed of, or anything that was afraid of the light in this place or in its creation or in you as you look back in your own, see your own shadows seeming to like crawl and recoil from the light as much as just being cast by it. There is This is a creature, you get the impression, of judgment. And while these rings were spinning, they slow to a stop, and it seems like all the eyes, each of you feel all of these eyes boring into you and through you. Just like this light seems to all like feel the warmth to you. And just like that sight, this judgment, the eyes widen and then all begin to shake violently, vibrating, and you hear this horrible screaming sound that is at the same time like too high pitched to hear, but at the same time you feel this like deep rumbling in your chest. Give me I think it is a wisdom saving throw. Let me double check. It might be charisma. But give me a saving throw, and I'll tell you if it's charisma or... charisma.
Wisdom, charisma.
Charisma, yeah.
Okay, that's a 7 for me.
That's a 10 for Flaming Gray.
That's a natural 20 for a 21 for me.
Wow, a 21 is what you needed to pass this.
Heck yeah!
Xerox and Gray, you find yourselves pierced by this light and this judgment. You feel as if these eyes boring through you would immediately see through any deception you tried to wield. And you feel your mind and your which you are unable to speak falsehood in this thing's presence.
Okay.
Beep boop. You feel that sight piercing through your body. And as you feel this magic that it is emitting, that it is, you don't know if it's just a supernatural effect. It's not like any spellcraft you've ever seen. But this, as this divine magic that prevents falsehood from being spoken, just like washes through you, you feel something deep in your chest where you think that if you have a soul helix like Togatot's, where that would be, similar position,
Mm-hmm.
you feel as if it is shaded from that sight somehow. As if there's some other... Give me an insight check.
What was that?
Give me an insight check.
Uh, 15?
15. You feel like there's something surrounding your heart in a metaphorical sense, but also you feel it like your body physically feels like there is something that is protecting you in some ways from a binding by something else. Like this
Hmm.
thing's magic is seeming to bind and restrict your ability, your free will, if you will. Uh, and there's something there within you that is protecting you from that. And you don't know if it's because it is a much more a more powerful there's what do you think? What does Beep Boop think in that moment about what that might be?
That's protecting me?
Yeah. Beep Boop has had, I think, some you've expressed some kind of curiosity mixed with, I think, some significant anxiety, having met Togatots and seen the cold iron soul helix contraption that is at its heart, and wondering what that implication might be for you. Is that right?
Yeah, that is very right.
Um,
I don't think that
so
Beep
kind of
Boop.
in that light, yeah, what does Beep Boop think about that?
I mean, he doesn't. It's a very strange feeling. He does not know what it is, but he's like, you pointed out, he's very anxious about it, and he kind of understands that he needs to find out more like about that. It's more of an itching curiosity that he needs to know. I think he's been struggling a lot with his creation from Beep Boop and how much of himself is himself versus, or Nibbles. How much of his
Mhm.
himself is himself versus what Togutops has brought to the table now that he knows there's more.
Yeah.
And he's
Yeah.
very not willing to give up himself and is kind of upset that someone is trying to take over his free will because, if anything, right now, that's something of his most important thing to him.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there is a sliver of a worry that kind of needles its way into Beep Boop's mind that whatever might be protecting you, whatever might be like within you or a part of you that's protecting you from this influence or this binding, there is a fear that you might have of, obviously like who put that there for what purpose, and is it binding you from yourself? Like, are you even your own person? Um, and just like all this like all this like evil and like the devils in the Gwyngold Imperium and the soul binding magic that they've revealed or that has been revealed to you all. The kind of like anxiety about like, what to what ends were you bound, and are you still bound if you were? Like, yeah, that worry about like who might be your master, I guess. There's as you guys are feeling the force of this thing's magic, the strange, like all frequencies, sort of like wailing noise that this thing was emitting, dies down and stops. The eyes stop vibrating, even as they still bore through you. And each of you feels or understands the intent of its question, even as that psychically manifests in a language you understand in your minds. And as it peers into you, it asks you, or it says to you rather, one of ours was put to death in this place. Why did you do it? Two of you are incapable of speaking any sort of deception. And Beep Boop, I think that you also understood that this thing, its eyes boring through you, saw that shaded place in your heart and saw that you resisted its binding.
Does Beep Boop have a sense of what it was trying to do? Like, make it not be able to lie?
I think so. Like you get you definitely got the like this understanding of this thing, like the light that's kind of like the in a much of the like this intuitive way that it communicates its intent. There is no dishonesty about this thing, and as its austere light is cast about this place, boring through any shadow, any deception, any deceit to find the truth. You understand, I think, that it is demanding that, demanding to be able to see through any shadow or deception.
I think Gray would respond in Ignin, still in fire form. I didn't, because he literally didn't.
Yeah, you were down the hallway for most of the time when it was finally killed, right?
I think he was present, but he took no part in destroying the Necronomicon. He wouldn't destroy a book.
He wasn't talking about the book. He's talking about. You understand that he's talking about that creature, the wailing creature
Oh,
in the
gotcha.
chambers above.
Yeah, he didn't touch it.
Beep Boop would angrily reply, "Hey, there's no need to take over my being. My free will is important. If you want truth, just ask." Lathander's light is what destroyed that creature. And he looked happy about it, if you ask me.
Xerox would say, I was defending myself.
And by Lathander. Is he the lighty one? Yeah, I was right. Okay.
Yeah, he's the Morning Lord. It gives no indication of what it feels about your responses. It merely continues to stare at you and through you. It says, "This book, the words upon its pages, a powerful curse demands that they always be upon this world. Long ago, that curse was bound, that the book could only exist in a single copy, and that copy had to be replaced. To be replaced. When once this book had been made and made and made again and again by servants of the death. It was made so there was only ever one. Kidu, you can come in. And now, once again, the Dark Ones will read this book in their dreams. They will write it on their flesh, and darkness will be made apparent to many. For each copy of this book that will be made from this day forward, for every life taken in that process, every drop of blood inking its pages. All that will occur because of what you have done here today. As like understanding of this, as it like speaks to you emotionally and intuitively as much as with words, with its like psychic sort of connection. What do you guys feel? You you each of you, beep boop, you can feel this even as you can hide things can feel this thing's eyes boring into you and assessing you as you take in this information.
Sorry,
I think
I
Ray
missed part of that.
would feel the judgment of all the people that stared at him and called him a betrayer, and brings up all those memories of being looked down upon. I think Ray maybe did attack that thing. I'm pretty sure I maybe charged in. I think Xerox was like in the air or something. I think I may have attacked it.
Yeah, you participated in that. I thought you were
Yeah.
talking about the, yeah. Yeah, both of us did that. And yeah, all of us did that. But no, in regards to destroying the book, Xerox would feel deep regret and deep, she'd be pretty shaken just knowing that in attempting to avoid condemning another person to this fate, they have unwittingly unleashed a worse horror upon the world, really. So she'd be kind of crestfallen at that. And I'd like to think she's like holding her hammer and shield, like hammer, just having just thicken the blood and whatever, and just kind of drop it to the ground and just kind of like stare at it just mopingly. Just
Any thoughts, Beep Boop?
I think Beep Boop might just be pretty obstinate still.
Yeah.
This is what happens when knowledge is not shared readily to those who might seek to defend the world from evil. How are we to know what would happen when this? Tell you the truth, I thought I would be doing the world a favor by hopefully getting the Necronomicon out of the hands of one who might do great evil. This is what happens when gods play with mortals.
It says to you, you acted with intention, noble as it may have been, but without knowledge. That is as much your crime to bear, or not crime, that is as much your responsibility to bear as any accusations you have against the gods. This book describes how one may attain a certain power granted by a demon prince claiming dominionship over death itself. I see in your minds that you have learned of Orcus and learned even of the implement of his power left behind in this world. You guys understand in your minds as it's speaking memories of the wand of Orcus and your conversations even with Bellerophon. And really purpose that binds you all right now, like this effort to seek out the wand of Orcus right now in an effort to prevent it from falling into the hands or under the dominionship of a Shemadai or whatever devils that will lurk at the heart of the Imperium. All this comes to your minds and you see this thing seeing your intent and seeing your purpose in this. And in that warm, if austere light of it, that it is basking you in, you have this understanding that this too is being taken into account in its assessment of you. And it says to you, this book, the dark ones, the dark god of death and his sycophants, his servants, will once again be able to perceive and dream this book and its instructions, and it will drive many to desire power granted by Orcus himself. Through his wand, he commands many legions still in this world. With all this done through 5 servants, the isolation of this book done not by the gods, but on their behalf by mortals like you. When faithful of Lathander sealed away the book here after striking a mortal blow against one of the 5 servants of Orcus, one of the 5 necrarchs. Up until recently, nothing had been able to rise up to take its place. And in all that time, all the necrarchs were weakened. But now there are 5 again. Perhaps the time of hiding this knowledge away is over, and the time of stamping it out, of destroying what it points to, is now. You all seek the wand of Orcus.
Yes.
Yes.
Well,
Fire.
truly seek is what we truly seek is to return to Bellerophon what was once his, and prevent others from getting this wand.
You will not be able to carry it. It will consume you. It is secured in a holy place and protected by the firstborn of Orcus, those who betrayed him. Only a creature of great darkness can carry the wand of Orcus without being consumed by it immediately. protectors in the city Loomis. They protect and secure the wand, but they also keep the sleeping form of the Necrarch Supreme, the one at the top of their little pyramid. A vampire lord, the first one ever made, still sleeps there. Only I know not how you will move the wand without succumbing to its darkness, but it must be done. Now that this knowledge is loosed upon the world again, many will flock to the banners of death. Orcus will speak the words of the Necronomicon into those eager to hear his words, his message. And death will walk this world again. And you see in your minds what feels at the same time like a premonition and also like a memory. And you recognize, like in a dream, intuitively, this like landscape, especially now that you have seen it from the air, from aboard Shippy. But you recognize the, lowland areas of the free cities. And you see to the east where you would expect to find the Cragspire Mountains. A vast plain, and you can see deep into what is the Bone Wastes. And from that land marches an unending army of the dead. There is a cataclysmic thunder of lightning, it sounds like, but you realize it's coming not from above, but from below. And you see the vast swaths, this undead horde beyond reckoning. It looks like the entire landscape to the east is just alive as it marches untiringly westward. And with that crack of cataclysmic thunder, you see that land, the earth, rise up from beneath them. And the strangely now familiar shape, broken earth from deep beneath the world's surface comes crashing up and just erupts from beneath, sending just utterly destroying a huge mass of this horde of undead, sending the whole like crunch of this rock like just spiring into the sky and creating this immense barrier that has first cut this undead horde not in half because it seemed to have no end, but cut off a portion of it and scattered it deep, deep back into the bone wastes. And you see that this memory recedes even as it is taken over by what looks like a cloud. Like you can see these mountains, the crag spires, now looming. You can feel it's like as if time has passed, and you can see age wearing on them. And then it slows again, and you can see what looks like the mountains themselves growing hairy with some growth, or like a vast like swarm of insects, as a new horde of undead, unyielding in its determination, and accompanied this time by a vast cloud of death. Just you can see just swarms upon swarms of what look to be like dragon-like figures. You can see wyverns and other similar like dragon-esque things flying in a numbers unimaginable. All of them you can see in this strange dream state, just like that one on the walls of this place you're in, this chamber, or rather, just like the one above, are zombified, as Gray put it earlier in his, or Evan put it earlier in his summary of the last session. These like undead dragons, a whole like impossible horde of them, and you can see that they are themselves covered in undead, and even they like some of them like begin to cascade down over the mountains and land into the free cities below. And you can see that this will never end, that this will just keep on happening until it's dealt with, until the wand of Orcus is taken and removed from this world or destroyed. It will keep on yearning to spread its darkness and extinguish consciousness and life all across the world. And you can feel this weight of that becoming more and more inevitable and more immediate, as this powerful artifact of Orcus's intention for this world, the Necronomicon, is once again released to prepare the way for the hordes of Orcus.
Shit.
But at the same time, you get this understanding that like it's not like there is this understanding of like in recognition, like beep boop, you when you kind of talked back to this thing, there was no like sense of it like recoiling at that criticism or anything like that. It accepts much of the truth of what you said. And I think that even as this inevitability and this like imminence of this now becomes apparent to you all in this like vision, there is also this like understanding that this was already in progress long before you were even born. And it was not your fault that General Harkill found this place just after all these ages and ascended to replace one of the Necrarchs. That is not your doing. This effort to keep this knowledge secret, as Beep Boop has rightly said, like failed. But with that is this very sober look at what that implies for the world and for you all in your lifetimes even. There was a great power here given by Lathander and bound by his servants to this place in the effort to contain the words of Orcus. That power is no longer needed. This place serves no more purpose, and that power can be taken and redirected to new purpose. If you will accept, I believe you are worthy vessels for this power. If you will accept it.
Gray nods his fiery head.
Xerox will say, even if I must die, I will do everything I can to stop this.
What is this power?
What shape it will take, I do not know. Oh, Shell's calling me. I'll be back.
5-minute break?
Quick, yeah, 10-minute break?
That sounds good. I am here as well.
Ah, don't scare me like that. Sneaking up on me without your video on.
I actually feel like a little worse today than I did yesterday. I think I didn't get enough sleep or something.
Oh my god, it's been like so me and Shell. It's like, oh, today I feel like I might be like starting to feel better, and then the next day you're like, I feel worse than the worst it's been so far. It's been tough.
Yeah, I've been living in like a NyQuil coma for the past couple days.
Yeah.
I get up, eat some food, usually some like miso soup or something simple, drink some
Uh-huh.
NyQuil, go back to bed.
Yeah. Ugh. And then, oh god. And then it's just like the days keep going by, and then like there are things that just you have to do at at some point. And then it's just like moving around for like 15 minutes, just like, I can't do it.
Yeah, I was trying to move boxes of books around. Ugh.
Don't do it. It's not
Yeah.
worth it. Packing sucks while sick.
Yeah. My offer to help with anything is temporarily rescinded, Evan.
No, very fair.
Hey, Evan, I'll help.
I literally like don't have a whole lot of stuff. I think I just have to get rid of like a futon. That's probably gonna be the most difficult thing, but I'm just gonna try and sell it.
Nice.
And if you can't sell it, there's a buy nothing group in Portland. You just put it up there and
Yeah.
say, "Someone come pick this stupid thing up."
Well, I'm sure someone will. It's in pretty decent shape.
Yeah. Can always get rid of stuff for free in Portland.
How's the keto doing?
Oh, look at that little girl over there. Yeah, we're talking about you, Kidu. Yeah, good dog. Yeah, she's a happy girl. Still just doing her thing. She's getting a lot of extra attention and loves and like
Oh, nice.
getting some people food for the first time in her life, basically. Like we've been because we've been so sick, we've been ordering a lot of like DoorDash and stuff too, and uh she's been getting little scraps of things. Yeah, it's been nice, huh, Kidu? Yeah.
That patient's like, what gives? I always steal it.
I know, right? I have to jump literally onto the dining room table to get that. But yeah, she's a happy pup.
Good.
Precious little baby.
Yes.
Those like pillars or kind of explosion thing that came out of the bone waste. Is that where the like undead dragons came from?
Oh no, yeah, let me clarify.
Or maybe we
Definitely
should wait
was.
till Jared's back
Oh yeah.
before.
Yeah.
But but those are all dreams of the past, right? They're not like current
Yeah,
things happening. Okay.
a little bit of both. Or
Oh.
like a little bit of past, a little bit of Christmas, ghost of Christmas past, a little bit of ghost of, undead invasion future.
So that's canon then. There is Christmas in Kenton.
And in Scrooge there is like a Christmas story play.
I hope they cast Bill Murray in that play.
Feel like per Millie or something. I don't know. Good taint name.
Great. Ugh. Kenan has been at my side no less than like 10 times since we've started playing to ask me to go downstairs and help him in his playthrough of Zelda, which we played all morning. And then I was like, okay, I got to go help clean. And then I'm not going to be able to help for a while. He's like, okay, great. Keeps
Which
coming
one
up.
is he? Which one is he playing?
He's playing Breath of the Wild.
Nice.
Like right before we finished, we just got to one of the first like creatures that he has to go in and fix. So it's like the first temple basically, and it's like
Oh yeah.
he keeps coming up. He's like, "What do I do next? What do I do next?" Like, buddy, I don't know. We'll work on it later. I don't know, buddy.
I made it through like maybe 6 temples or something like that before I ended up like putting it down for a little while. But it really is a
the,
great
like,
game.
Temple of Trials and stuff.
Yeah, like each of those little shrines that you have to
Yeah.
figure out what to do.
Yeah, it's a very fun game. I'm actually surprised he's gotten this far. Like, we made it to the elephant um, today, but like he's been doing a lot of this by himself, and he's cleared a few of those temples. And I'm like, dang, like he did almost the whole first part by himself, and I was like, that's, I mean, good job, bud.
Nice.
The happiest hack that I found for that one was there was one temple where you had to like roll a ball through these like narrow corridors and stuff. It was an extreme pain in the ass, but I realized if I just like flip my Wii upside down, or not the Wii, the Wii upside down, it would just load the thing upside down, and I could just wield the ball wherever I wanted to.
That's
Genius.
hilarious.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Good. Welcome back, Jared.
Sorry, I had to move some laundry.
It's all good. We were just gonna clear up some some of the what was just described and stuff. There were some questions. So yeah, it was describing in a vision, basically at least a version of what happened a long time ago first, like these the Cragspire Mountains themselves rising up from the ground and just destroying this like advance of the undead. And you notice that there was a difference between that, like that was just like this kind of there's just like this unending swarm of undead zombies and stuff coming. In the as the vision shifted to like time having passed and the Cragspire Mountains weathering with time, what came to be what you think is like a vision of a possible or likely near future was a new undead horde marching west out of the Bone Wastes over the Cragspire Mountains. That barrier no longer serving, preventing them from passing, and you saw that the new horde was sprinkled with, or not even sprinkled, but accompanied by vast swarms of servants of these various necrarchs. You saw the like this zombie dragon and its horde of servants, and you saw I'll retcon that you also saw because my descriptions failed me and I forgot some things. But you saw like elements of like each servants of each of those necrarchs that you saw depicted on the wall in the previous chamber. You saw what were clearly these undead warriors bearing the like legionary army or armor of General Harkill's troops. You see. Uh, in addition to the dragons, you'll see these like ghastly specters that are like screeching across the air, freezing everything in their path ahead of the horde of undead. So you see like representatives of each of the necrarchs above who are now present in this potentially soon to come second like invasion of the undead into the west. Um, across the Cragspire Mountains instead of just across like the vast like steppes and plains. Um, so it's definitely describing first what had happened in the past, and then second what's likely to happen in the future, and probably sooner rather than later. Now that one of the great tools of Orcus is released upon the world, um, while at the same time, like I said, recognizing that the previous like effort to prevent this sort of thing was only ever kind of like a stalling method, and that if you guys are wanting to put a final end to this problem of Orcus's influence on the world, then this creature is offering you boons, um, which is basically like repurposing the power that Lathander's servants had bound here previously. So that's kind of, yeah. Do you guys have questions after that re-summary and probably better description?
No, that makes sense to me.
That's good.
That's great.
Cool. So it says to you that Beep Boop that like do not know what aspect these boons will take, but I can assure you they will not violate any intention of yours, or will not violate any preference or will that you might have.
I see you understand. I will accept.
As you say, I will accept. You feel like at once, like you feel this like infusion of warmth and light from around you, and the rest of you see like for a moment Beep Boop just like lift off the ground for just a second as like radiant energy just suffuses him or them and is absorbed by his body. um Beep Boop, what you experience, however, is far more harrowing. You immediately realize that this creature has lied to you. And as this like energy just gets forced into your body, you feel it like penetrating through you. You feel it like ripping through any defenses or anything that you might have. You feel it like uh, revealing to you this horrible secret at your heart. You see and feel this cold iron that is binding your heart deep in your core, and you feel that you are bound through this stuff, through this soul helix, to some dark creature's will. Whatever boon this thing had tried to give you failed and has been usurped by whatever dark thing has its hook in your heart. You feel this coldness suffuse you, and you feel a dark purpose fill your mind. You turn to your allies to begin to try and strike them down. And you feel this
Do I get a
dark
surprise round?
purpose fill your heart, and all that passes in a wave, and you feel yourself coming out of a horrible nightmare almost. You feel like the cold and painful certainty of the truth of what you just experienced just like washes over you like waking from a dream. And you feel this thing, this celestial being looking at you, and you realize that it did not give that, or like did not subject you to that. And you see in the truth of its light and its judgment of you that that was your own fear like manifesting itself in response to this divine boon. And you feel this new power as you recognize in some way, like come to like, if not terms with, come to give some direct and like painful truth or like painful like witness to that fear in your heart, you feel yourself being like suffused with power. You gain the ability to cast a particular spell once per day. That spell is Mind Blank. It is an 8th level abjuration spell. Its duration is 24 hours. You can touch one willing creature, and until the spell ends, that creature is immune to psychic damage, any effect that would sense its emotions or read its thoughts, immune to divination spells, and the charmed condition. The spell even foils wish spells and spells or effects of similar power used to affect the target's mind or to gain information about the target.
Hot damn. Uh, I mean, if robots cry, I think Beep Boop might be shedding some tears. He'll look up and say his thanks. Thank thank you, and I guess sorry for before.
It it evinces no satisfaction or response to your apology. It merely says, "You spoke truth before as you sought. No apology is required."
Well,
And you, do you accept? Or go ahead.
no, I'm good.
And turning to what feels like both of you at the same time, like it's multitude of eyes, like always seeming to take each of you in simultaneously, like each of you experiencing that effect of like the painting on the wall, whose eyes you can't escape. And it speaks to both of you, Xerox and Gray, and says, and to each of you says, and you, do you accept the boon of Lathander?
Yeah, Gray will
Xerox
nod.
Yeah. Xerox says I accept.
As you both speak this or communicate your acceptance, you both are also suffused with this divine energy, this radiant light, and you and Beep Boop, you're on the other side of this now, and you see this just like brief moment of them just being like lifted up, and you like this expression of like calm goes over their face, but internally, you both experience something far, far different. Xerox, you are there on the final battlefield with the armies of the dead. Your purpose fulfilled, you've fought your way to the end of the war. You always a survivor. Even these like innumerable wounds inflicted upon you never slowed you down. Even as you bleed from a few scattered wounds, the few that were able to break through your tough skin and your barbarian's rage. You look around and there are no allies left alive. You are a survivor, and you survived. No one else did. You look around you and you see your companions nearby, scattered, their bodies crushed, torn apart. You see Nibbles, broken, just a few paces behind you, having tried to follow you into this last push. You see some horrific vampire lord lay broken at your feet, the wand of Orcus crushed, broken beyond repair. You've survived. What does Xerox feel in that moment?
Xerox would also feel crushed by that. Um, I don't think she would be able to keep tears from her eyes, but also looking around, seeing the wand of Orcus at their feet broken, uh, she would also just know that she did the right thing.
As Xerox cries, even as she takes some satisfaction, some comfort in this victory, in the greater victory that she's achieved, even at this great cost. Those tears flow down your cheeks, and you can see as you walk over to Nibbles first, the tears fall, and as they strike Nibbles, breath returns to him, and he gasps for life. You come back to yourself, and you feel this warm power suffusing you. You gain the ability to cast Resurrection once per day.
Shit. That's Xerox would just drop down to one knee and kneel in respect. And that'd be it, not knowing what else to do.
And Gray, you also suffused in this light for just this moment, have a internal journey as well. You are surrounded by all those who you've saved, that you've helped. You are like this memory, this so recently formed memory of you guys arriving in Ketten and being received with truly a hero's or a Valkyrie rather, with the airship and receiving a truly hero's welcome as like the town basically came to a halt to celebrate your return and like the accomplishments and the everything that's been done for the communities and like the chanting of and the adulation and the people that just some like just cheerfully and just celebrating it, like some with just a great smile in their eye, like calling you, like chanting like Gray the Helper. And there's a moment where like you're like lifted up as people are like there's just music and celebration throughout the place, throughout the town. You're in the town square surrounded by so many people, and they lift you up on your shoulder or on their shoulders, and you feel a little bit weird, a little bit uncomfortable. Like you felt this way before. You'll probably just need to go, throw up or have explosive diarrhea, as sometimes you do. Then you'll probably cast a restorative magic on yourself and be fine. Like it's what you do. It's like you've become so like capable and like aware of these like magical powers you have in addition to your, also just not caring that much about traditional like cleanliness and social norms
Gray's
in the
never
same
took
way.
a solid shit in his life.
Unsurprising. Always has a new like large beetle carapace to like scoop himself clean with, like a seashell. Uh,
3 of them.
uh, but you're like feeling a little off, even as like you're lifted up on people's shoulders, and you feel like, oh, suddenly you can't wait. Like you have to throw up right now, and even as you're like in the middle of this crowd, like you don't want to do it, or whatever, and but you can't stop it, and an immense explosion of what you think is vomit begins to come out. But you soon realize with horror that it is not, normal, traditional gray biomatter, but a horrible tendriling expanse that's growing so quickly out of your guts, out of your stomach, an expanse of this fungus, this strange filament that's stretching out and reaching towards everybody in this place, reaching out from you, an expanding growth of the rot erupts forth and begins devouring and consuming everyone in this place, and you hear them begin to scream, Gray the betrayer, Gray the betrayer, even as they're ripped apart and repurposed by the rot itself. And as you feel this, Gray, this horror, you wish if only you had been stronger, if only you had been able to help people more, if only like you could have helped, but you did it wrong or something. If only you had been able to light the way better or something, like you just don't know what you did wrong. If only your body had been able to withstand the rot. And there's this moment where this like brilliant light just erupts forth from you, cutting the rot from you, this fungus, and beaming out in every direction. The rot is burned away by it, and all the people, well, the remaining survivors, are saved. And as you feel this light surround you and being emitted from you, as you come back to your body, having this like disturbing feeling of just this like awareness that there is still this threat of the rot, even as Yandala had cleansed it from you for now, there's still this threat looming just particularly over you, if over the entire world, of the rot coming and growing and expanding, and just this horrible fear of this of being an unwitting part of this, of just not being strong enough, not being able to resist the corruption. As you come to, you gain the ability to cast a spell as well, once per day. The spell is Holy Aura. Divine light washes out from you and coalesces in a soft radiance in a 30-foot radius around you. Creatures of your choice in that radius, when you cast a spell, shed dim light in a 5-foot radius and have advantage on all saving throws, and other creatures have disadvantage on attack rolls against them until the spell ends. In addition, when a fiend or undead hits an affected creature with a melee attack, the aura flashes with a brilliant light. The attacker must succeed on Constitution saving throw or be blinded until the spell ends.
Gray responds, "Fire."
Keep in mind that Xerox and Gray, the boons that you have been granted, do require a consumed component. Actually, is that even? It doesn't say it's consumed. Let me check the other one.
Resurrection definitely consumes it.
Yeah, res does. But as you've learned, spell components, as you learned recently, you've thanks to Ulu and some other researchers, that a lot of spell components can be substituted with Bellstone. So if you're having trouble finding something, you can probably get a Bellstone equivalent and use that instead, like Diamond.
Sweet.
For Holy Aura, yeah, that does not require, it does not consume the thing. Its duration is 1 minute and is a concentration spell.
It looks like a piece of parchment from a religious text could be used.
Yes.
Would a piece of the Necronomicon work?
I that you think is bad paper, and this is like you get the feeling this spell wants good paper, and that's bad paper.
Gotcha.
I mean, sort of paper. Icky.
Uh, so you guys receive your boons. You feel yourselves, recovering quickly from the emotionally fraught, like dreamlike state that you experience with like your own like some sense of your own fears or like or something like there's something about the way this boon came to you that it found a way to be helpful to you by basically seeing what you were afraid of um, in some sense. The creature says, I have read the book and contain its knowledge as well. What information do you need from its pages?
Gray says indignant smart stuff.
Yeah, what do you guys think? You guys came here, I think, with some amount of hope to like gain some information from the Necronomicon. But yeah,
Yeah.
discuss.
Sorry, there was loud things happening. I was waiting a moment. We need to find the location of the wand. Directions to Lumos.
Maybe if there's any text on how to control the wand or who could hold it.
Also, any knowledge of where all 5 Necrons are, Necrarchs are, so I can kill them all.
Yeah.
Or how
Xerox
possibly to destroy them.
would like to know more about the process of becoming a Necrarch because she aims to run across a certain general, and any knowledge about how he became what he became would be helpful to know exactly how to um, fight against him, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. Shell just got home. I'm gonna go help her with some stuff.
Okay.
Quick 5 to 10.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I'm here, but Shell brought some food home, so I'm just gonna eat and just chill and hang out.
Sounds good.
Oh, thanks for patience every day, or everybody, for this sick
D edition.
Makes sense.
As someone that currently has COVID, I completely understand. It sucks.
Yeah.
I'm gonna grab some water really quick though.
He's an addict. We need to start a program. Now I feel slightly less bad for ruining the world.
As
Man,
long
the
as
first
we are rewarded,
yeah. The first couple of days that I had COVID, I kept getting these like really nasty bloody noses. That was like the very first day I woke up. I realized that like I had blood like dripping down my throat for a while. So when I got up to try and talk, it was like my voice was like a garbage disposal. It's like rah, rah, rah.
Then all that blood started coming in
Dude,
your
it was
mouth.
so
And it looked like
nasty.
a horror movie.
Dude, it was so gross.
Possessed.
What you eating?
Breakfast burrito.
Yum.
From where?
Casa del Sol, I think.
Oh,
Is
the
that
House
what
of
it's
the
called?
Sun.
Somewhere nearby. Can't remember which one.
I think I should make some breakfast burritos tomorrow. That sounds like a fun breakfast.
sounds great.
I've been making more of those egg and cheese quesadillas. It's pretty good as
See,
like a quick snack before work.
those are the jam.
I'll just make one, eat half, and then cut up the other one for little snacks before heading in.
Nanny.
Really good cold too.
I ate pizza yesterday and didn't die. The world is turning out to be a wonderful place.
Do you usually die when
Oh
you eat
yeah.
pizza?
Uh, for like, so last year I started to have an intolerance to dairy that was terrible.
Mm.
And then I had my appendix out, and like subtly, like slowly, I've been starting to just play around with cheese and milk and dairy products. And
Just playing
yesterday with
around
my
with cheese.
just playing around, it's like Russian roulette because you never know. If I have too much, I might just end up shitting myself and vomiting everywhere. So it's nice to not have that issue.
Sounds pretty awesome.
Great. Because I love pizza.
Okay. Wow, I think I was very hungry. Also, like, don't have an appetite, and then suddenly I'm just like, I'm dying of hunger with this COVID shit.
Yeah, I've been drinking a lot of miso soup. It's just super easy. Even if I'm not hungry, I'll start eating it, and then I start to
Mhm.
feel hungry afterwards. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And it's super easy too. I'm definitely gonna have miso on hand for the rest of my life, I think.
Yeah, it's really tasty. Um, okay. You guys ready?
Yes.
Cool.
Oh.
So it asks you guys, what knowledge do you seek from within the pages of the book?
Yeah, Gray just wanted to know how to like handle the wand. I can't think of anything else really.
Says, only a creature born of darkness can wield the wand without it consuming it immediately. Such is the power of death that lingers upon this artifact of Orcus. I would need to find such a creature willing to work alongside you in this, I imagine.
Too bad we killed that one guy.
Well,
Still got our pirate friend, Visigoth. I don't know if he would want to or be trustworthy enough.
we need to bring Bellerophon with us.
I'm fairly certain he's not allowed to leave the temple.
Pretty sure, yeah. Um,
I have an idea.
Shamadai.
I think we can teleport it out of wherever it is, as long as Nibbles comes. And by consume, do you mean murder or turn into an evil, destructive being?
Yes, it will consume and twist any light of your soul and transform it into darkness subservient to Orcus. What form your body will take, I know not, but it will consume your soul and use that power to transform you into a servant worthy of the god of death. Or rather, the demonic prince that claims that title.
By chance, would my new boon stop that from happening?
No.
No. Well then. We'll have some thinking to do.
Uh, it says, the wand you seek beneath the city Loomis, as far to the east, deeper in the wastes. I sense, or I've seen an artifact amongst your possessions. You can use this to mark your destination for you. You feel that same way. It's like psychic communication and the clarity and deceitlessness of its presence, it is referring to the map you have.
I pull it out of my pocket.
It takes the, well, I guess it doesn't take the map. It is a pair of rings and eyes. As you pull open the map, you see a what looks like a splotch of sunlight just lands on a spot on the map, which then begins to illuminate, and you see that the city Loomis is placed directly on top of a one of those um, like ley line pillars or whatever those magic points are on the map that you guys have learned about. It is indeed far into the bone wastes, um, a little over probably like around 2/3 of the way all the way across. We don't have my map here, but it is the bone wastes are have the Crag Spire Mountains on the west side of them, and then have another mountain range that is, kind of like a hazy question mark on a lot of maps, far to the east, kind of hemming in the bone wastes on either side. So using that as a kind of guide or as kind of a visual, it's a little over like halfway across that entire expanse, which is probably is nearly or around twice like as far as the Tyrant's Wall on the west side of the Free Cities. The distance from there to the Cragspire Mountains is about half the distance from one side of the Bone Wastes to the other. So you're looking at like an entire expanse of the Free Cities between, farther than that is the city of Loomis out there in the wastes. That was a weird way of explaining all that, but there we are.
I was picking up what you were putting down.
But the point is on the map, and you see that there's just this brief illumination, and then there's this patch where it has been identified, and you can see that it has not like in the way that the map can seemingly like collect or like get real time information about where you guys are when you are like zooming in on yourselves on the map. There is that area on the map is not, it's weird when you look at it because it's clearly been updated, but it is not updated with like you expect. It's not, there's not a moment where you can see in like real time or anything. It's just like where in this patch where there was nothing on the map is now this immense city that you can see, or well, to be seen on this map. Like you can see that there is a city now on the map where before there was none, as it kind of like gleams and glows into existence with radiant light, which then as it dissipates leaves that city, that marker on the map where previously there was nothing. The city of Loomis unlocked.
Perfect. And do you, by chance, have any knowledge of how we might destroy these Nectarks?
The Necrarchs each swore themselves to Orcus, each of them in a different place, an old place of darkness, or each of them in a place, each of them places of darkness, of great evil, places in now ruined lands of the wastes, lost to time, lost to all memory except that of the darkest recesses of Orcus's memory and his servants' records. There are 5 places by which at which these dark rituals may take place. Each of the necrarchs greedily defends this place of their birth, fearful that in their absence they may be destroyed or undone. Only when all 5 rise together in the dominion of the firstborn of the dead. Well, all 4 rise under the dominion of the 5th, the Necrarch Supreme, the firstborn of the dead. Only then will they be united in purpose enough to leave their places of power and march upon the world again instead of merely sending forth their minions. This makes destroying them difficult because it must be done at the heart of their power, at this place of their birth. I can show you these places as well. They are written in the books or in the pages of the Necronomicon.
I know of one that I particularly wish to visit.
It is done. And you see on the map, 4 more locations are illuminated. They're roughly in like from the center point of the city of Loomis. They are southwest, northwest, southeast, and northeast from that location. But as the bone wastes are this long, wide expanse, think of it just kind of like from the center point. They're kind of like sprawled out in this kind of rough sort of like rectangle around that spot. You see, you hear the voice and idea manifest the psychic language of this celestial being, or the psychic voice of the celestial being speaks to you and says, "The one you seek is this," and points at the southwesterly point on the map. The nearest one to where you presume you might be right now. Oh, but that's an interesting point. I just realized. With the map being here, there is a chance that this position is also. I would say that the map has also updated with your current position, so you can see where this this temple, like this prison for the Necronomicon, is located as well. And next time we play, I'll have those points on the map for you.
Okay. So these are all spread around Loomis, like in one
Yeah,
pattern?
yeah. So like, yeah, this map is just way too small to hold up to the camera and see. Um, so like bone wastes are like this big old oval you can imagine, and like over here is like Loomis, and then like if you can imagine from Loomis going like out like this, these other 4 points are like in this kind of rectangular shape, all with like spread pointing with that as their kind of center point of being of Loomis. Roughly,
Okay.
it's not a perfect like rectangle or anything, but it's like they're scattered around in that kind of direction. Like direct lines from Loomis to each of these places would, like I said, be like kind of like southwest-west, northwest-west, northeast-east, like that sort of like long, more westerly and easterly on that horizontal axis, but also north and south as well. If they are undone, either broken, and each of them has bound themselves to the site of their oaths to Orcus, and if they were to be destroyed elsewhere, they would likely return after a time, after being weakened, leaving their site of power, their birthplace, vulnerable. To destroy them, you would need to destroy them at that location, at the seat of their power. If that means weakening and binding them elsewhere and bringing them there to deal the final blow, that is just as well. But they must be destroyed where they were born, where their oaths were sworn to the darkness.
Have they been known to, you said, the side of their power can be weakened, but have they, by drawing them out, have they ever been drawn out before?
Says the firstborn's previous general, the one your Harkill has replaced, was arrogant enough, even after the walls were out, when the Cragspire mountains had erupted forth, and the firstborn had been bound to sleep beneath the city Loomis. They were all weakened in that time, and remain weakened today. There was an arrogance, and continues to be an arrogance seemingly demanded of that servant's position. It calls to those called to Harkill, I think, because of the arrogance in his heart. So similar to that of his predecessor. Part of a destruction, the destruction of powerful beings, whether they be demon princes or gods themselves, is the erasure of their names from history and memory. Part of the destruction of these creatures will pull their names from your own minds even as you destroy them. Harkill's predecessor is lost to time. And just as that is true, if you slay Harkill in his seat of power, he too will be lost. His name too will be lost to time. Greatest insult for one as arrogant as he. Couldn't hear you.
And he will earn the same fate.
Doesn't that mean that someone has to replace him, though? Or with the Nebuchadnezzar gone, it doesn't matter anymore?
The Necronomicon spread out across the world, free to visit the dreams of those who seek the darkness. It is, even if Harkill is destroyed, it is only a matter of imminent time that a new face of that darkness will arise. The binding of the Necronomicon was successful in slowing or preventing that from happening for a great deal of time, but even that failed as Harkill found this forgotten place in the wastes, and with that was able to take the Necronomicon and then use it to replace the Necrarch that had been destroyed for untold millennia, possibly. So it's not it's not like the book where you have to, like, you guys were even able to destroy the book without replacing it, but you guys could destroy these Necrarchs if done properly at basically the place where they made their oaths to Orcus. They would be truly destroyed and you would not need to replace them in that moment. It's just likely that with the Necronomicon out there, someone will hear that whispering and will find a way to do what Harkill did more easily than Harkill did.
Okay.
So all the Necrarchs, their power is bound to each other. The weakening of one weakens them all. So long as the Vampire Lord sleeps, the others lack the cohesion and the strength to march forth upon the world.
Has he's been awakened in the past, or how do we avoid waking him? Or do we have to?
Priests of Loomis have long taken care to keep the Vampire Lord asleep. They know the rituals needed to bind him to slumber. It is a strange thing. Orcus retains his influence on this world through his wand. Destroying that will, if not eradicate his presence from the world, will cut the primary tether he has to it. The Necrarchs are bound to Orcus and bound more specifically to the power of the wand. The first of them, the vampire beneath Loomis, was the first of Orcus's servants. First beyond mere animate dead. And this vampire, who was once a mortal man, if uncommon in his immense power over sorcery and other magics, this man betrayed Orcus, taking the strength, the dark boon Orcus provided, and keeping his own will. Vampires all are born of this first betrayal of Orcus. These were the creatures first made by Orcus to carry out its more complex will and demands upon the world. But he left too much of themselves, left too much will, too much of their own strength when he made the first vampire. And that creature betrayed him, sought to use Orcus's power, use the wand itself for its own benefit and its own goals of domination. While to us, or while to mortals of this world, their goals seem indifferent, as both will subject the world to the reign of death and darkness. Matters to most people, I imagine, little which of these dark forces were victorious. But to your purposes, it may benefit you to know that they are not aligned entirely. Orcus and the firstborn of the vampires, the Necrox Supreme.
And that is why the priests keep the vampire.
If this vampire, the first Necroarch, was destroyed, it would ultimately be replaced, and that mantle of power would rest on a new, vicious enemy, likely even more subservient to Orcus himself. It was determined that binding the enemy or the people determined that it was better to bind the enemy that they knew than unleash something new and more horrible upon the world. Something even less human than the Lord of Vampires. So they bound it and kept it instead of destroying it.
The vampires, for their own interests, have kept this Necroarch bound. Just in their own interest, from keeping, just to keep this evil, from this mantle from passing to another set of hands. That makes sense. Sorry, just working it out in my head.
No, it's all good. Yeah, it's a lot of just lore dumping. So yeah.
Perhaps these vampires will choose to aid us. We could take advantage of that.
Agreed. If they are born of darkness, they can hold the wand, at the very least. They may be convinced to work with us rather than against us.
Potentially. We'll have to find out.
Burn fire, ash spark.
Yes, I agree.
Um, yeah, if you guys have any other questions for the creature, feel free. At some point, though, if it perceives it is not needed anymore, it is will begin to depart. It does say that I will soon leave this place. Go with the blessings of the Lord of Light. And in a place of great darkness, you call upon him in an hour of need. Well, you may be able to give up your boon to gain his attention, if momentarily, even as far away as he is. The power gifted to you can be released. We will see it.
Is there any other way to get a hold of you, should we have questions? I know of an elf who might be very angry to not have a chance to speak with you.
My duties carry me onward. If you have a if you have companions who have access to divine boons of a god from a god allied with Lathander, perhaps you could reach out that way. But I do not believe any of you have the capacity to reach me directly.
I can't think of any other questions, though.
I can't either.
I just want to know if he has bugs, but I know he doesn't.
I have one final question. Have you ever heard of the Great Redacted?
It it says you'll have to be more specific.
I only wish that I could be.
It says that I do not know of what you're speaking, and my presence here is limited.
Then I can't. I would try to explain as much as I could about the dude, but not taking a lot of time, where Togatos came from and the Great Soul Forge before, and see if there's anything in the Necronomicon about that. But if not, we're good.
Yeah, it makes actually it's a good question, because like it does this creature does make clear that like its presence here is like limited to a particular context of, or its like awareness and its knowledge here is limited to a particular context of like having to do with the Necronomicon and all of that it entails and all this stuff. And it can absolutely confirm that like the the Great Redacted and like the stuff you've learned from Alamein as well as Togatots about all that crazy stuff. It does not have any, like it says, like this is beyond the purpose of my mission and my intent here. I do not know. And just like similar to like Yundala, it seems that this divine creature has to limit itself to make itself present here. So you're seeing like a face of this creature, this divine, this celestial being, and it doesn't have access to its like full capacity or like well of knowledge or access to other stuff.
Well, thank you for your attempts, and I will hand him a scarf, which has been made for him.
Excellent. The scarf, you kind of like put it up on one of the like like spinning rings, just as it then just goes and just disappears into this kind of like just gasp of radiant light that fades away, and you guys find yourselves once again in this dismal place with the wreckage of the Necronomicon still on the ground around you.
Are any of the chains? Are the chains just hanging there that we're
That
finding?
we're binding it. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I'm imagining you guys destroyed this thing enough that like flesh was ripped from the chains and stuff. Um, so there's still probably some chains holding on to scraps of like an ankle and a foot, stuff like that.
Xerox will break off a length of chain and just kind of drape it around her neck for now.
Hell yeah.
Make sure to eat some good liver while you're carrying those around. You're getting real beefy.
Um, yeah.
Well,
Um, before we leave, because we have the stone that we can jump out of here at any time. Beep Boop wants to go grab that second piece of armor now that this place isn't holy. I feel less bad looting now that it's a dark place.
Yeah, like yeah, this the radiant holiness of this place is certainly not needed, and the radiant power here is now like in you guys to some extent. You can definitely go up there and grab these like finely crafted armor sets. There's now 2 of them and a pair of halberds as well if you want to take them.
yeah, we
I
can
guess
take
I do.
them.
Hell yeah.
Is Lathander's light still shining?
I would say that as you guys go up, back up and up, you find that the light is like when you first like got up above, you're like, oh, the light's still shining, but you realize that it is dimming quickly as like the whatever magic that's infusing this place is being spent and is no longer being sustained. And the like energy that's like bleeding or like just um burning out of the walls from those like where the fires you guys started are yeah, it just begins to slowly dim till it will eventually go out, you presume.
Okay, well, before it's all gone, I look over to my companion. Shall we head home?
But I'm sure they're wondering exactly what we're up to.
Yeah, Gray nods. He returns back to his normal gray form. We go.
uh Absolutely.
Gray will take a little bit of the Necronomicon just because it's a book.
Fair enough. Yeah, you can take a yeah, like yes, a little bit of Necronomicon leather.
A little scrap of flesh.
Beep boop. Took the armor sets. Um, yeah, you guys take your prizes from this place. Um, this place quickly becoming defamed rather, and prepare to teleport back to Valkreath. Um, you guys teleport back without issue. Having spent, what do you guys think? You guys didn't even take a short rest here, I don't think so. Probably not more than like a few hours on this trip, or this little expedition round trip. Um, so returning that same day, Noose grumbles something under his breath and wanders off into the darkness and never to be seen again for some time. Um, and you guys return just in time for more meetings and discussing of the great goings on of Valkreath and Ketten and the struggle to maintain their own independence and prevent any hostilities from the Imperium. And you guys thought the boring talking was over. Um, no, but
Hooray!
um, I was actually wondering if you guys wanted to probably call it there for the day. My head is getting more and more like my own voice in my head is now just like boomingly loud with the congestion I'm feeling.
Yeah,
Um,
it sounds fair.
yeah,
That seems very fair.
Yeah, we can call it there. I'll
yeah.
be sad, but it's fine.
Um, but yeah, we can definitely talk because like next would be presumably kind of like finishing up any details of those conversations, which I think you guys actually got most of. In fact, like one of the last things I wanted to make sure, I'll check my notes, but one of the last things I wanted to make sure did get discussed was Vocenti's intel about Harkill, and then we had the pleasant little arrival of Ryan, and that impelled me to make that a just do it now thing instead of a here's some intel thing. Um, so I'll double check, but I think that was like you guys did discuss most of the like just about everything that was of importance before you guys could set out again to load up on Bellstone and other supplies.
I think there was the mithril. If we wanted to start mining that right
Oh,
away, or
yep.
if we wanted to go slow on that to get
Yeah,
more
that's true.
later. That's one thing that really comes to mind.
Yeah, I think that's
Say,
right.
Xerox would be of the opinion to go within the Earth's natural cycles and wait on it. As opposed to forcing the issue.
Yeah, I think Gray would probably agree. Go the more natural route.
Hmm.
Don't steal from nature. If you
Um,
could harvest it slowly.
yeah, Brundi Felspar, the dwarf who's kind of like the most knowledgeable about what's going on with that, um, does speak up and it says, um, I appreciate everybody's concerns. This is always great to get some other input. I would just want you all to remember that this is already an unnatural process by some consideration set in motion quite some time ago by my ancestors, and we would merely be changing the endpoint of that unnatural process. Um, she says that what's been done has been done, and the forge tender has been continuing that work for hundreds of years now. Um, and if we determine that our current need demands it, I would just keep in mind that this is already something of an industrious effort, not a natural one, if that makes sense to you. You can tell she's pretty just excited about the prospect of all this, and there's just some out of your sure just excitement of just like she just wants to do this because it would be really cool and interesting for her to be like to be able to do. Um, so there's definitely some like excitement about this that might cloud her own judgment and assessment of these things. But like from her perspective, she's like, if she's like definitely of the mind of like there's greater value to be gained long term, but if the community is like you guys are like looking down the barrel of like war and stuff, so she's like using that as potentially a cover for her own interest to some extent in her arguments. But there are others like that share your perspective, I think. People expressing concern over like what upsetting the stability beneath Ketan is going to mean. Like, do we even know like what this process is going to look like? That the dwarves can't like guarantee that there aren't going to be some pretty big like changes or trials associated with this. So there's like definitely other like concerns being raised on this subject. Um, but so like to a lot of extent, like that's kind of like the standstill they've come to is like weighing some of these things and deciding if like the strategic need is enough to like kind of settle some of these disputes and like decide one way or the other. That's kind of the decision for the uppity ups here on the council. Otherwise, it would be not so big a deal. Just in case that yeah, I don't mean to just talk forever, but just in case that clarifies, because we didn't really role play that anymore, and I was going to do a little bit of that. So just to provide some more context. That's all.
Slow and steady.
Right on.
Slow and steady.
Alrighty. Thus it is decided. So I think maybe next time we can, unless you guys have more Valkyrie stuff you do want to take care of, I'll probably just pick us up next time, like heading out of Valkyrie, getting ready to head out to the quarry and then beyond. If that
The only
sounds good.
the only thing I can think of is we called Nibbles here to look at Togatot,
Oh
so
yeah.
there's gonna be at least some of that, and we can handle that however you would like to.
Yeah, absolutely. I forgot about Nibbles was gonna visit for that.
I mean, in my mind, he's been up there the whole time because
Yeah, no, yeah. I agree. Like he showed up at during the meeting, if I remember correctly. But I remember, yeah, you had to decide which of the two you were going to take on this mission to the Necronomicon.
exactly.
Yeah, right on. We can definitely pick up with that. There's some good stuff there, I think, and really cool call. And I'd love to bring Nibbles back for his special insight here too. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that. And then just be thinking if there is anything else in Valkyrie or any other plans you guys want to concoct or check in on or whatever before you guys head out, because you will be heading out east without your people with lots of communication and teleportation magic. So you'll be kind of like going on this voyage without that same kind of like connection to back to like all this other stuff that you had when Quilla and Nazira were around.
Okay.
I think Gray would like to look for some components for his new spell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Which we could deal with later.
Yeah. I will say, I'll make a note because I definitely have thoughts on that.
Cool.
Also, Beep Boop. Well, I don't know what we've done with Quilla, but I want to find some sending stones if I can, because I feel like it'd be fun to be able to talk to Quilla while she's wherever she is.
That's a good idea. Yeah, for sure. You're not sure how if you'll be able to, because like getting something like that. Wait, I'm sorry. if I misunderstood. Is this something that you can just make because you're a magic boy? Or is this something you're
TBD.
looking to like buy or craft or something?
Mostly I'd be looking to buy them. I might be able to make them, but I have to see. I have a lot
Okay.
of magic items currently made, and some of them I cannot unhave.
Okay. Cool.
So that's for later. All right, everybody.
All right. Well,
All right, y'all.
yeah.
All right.
Thanks for
Feel better,
the
everybody.
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
please feel better, stay healthy, all.
See you guys.
I'm about to take a shot of NyQuil.
Nice.
All right, later, y'all. GG's.
Later.